Okay, so I probably had one of the most difficult sales transactions actually this week in my entire career. And it was actually beautiful because I got a chance to see, what I talk about a lot, work in real time, and just really work at its highest level, right? I was talking to a couple. It was a husband and wife. The wife had, we went through the application together. Everything was good to go. In part of the application as your life insurance agent, you have to ask someone if they're a tobacco smoker, right? They do, like I said, tobacco or nicotine. If you're a sales agent in life insurance, you know this, right? Now, the difference is usually, typically, there's a different rate from non-tobacco and tobacco. So I'm talking to this, this wife, this lady, and in the pre-qualification, she said she did not smoke cigarettes. She didn't use tobacco nor nicotine. Midway through the call, her husband steps into the conversation and he's coming in. He's a little protective, and I respect it 100%. It's his wife. He's trying to make sure she's not getting scammed by some guy on the phone. Cool. We're going through the whole deal, and through the conversation, we get to the application. So we've been on the call probably 20 minutes. Everything's good. She said, no tobacco, this, and this. Husband jumps on. I'm doing the intro, I'm making sure he's comfortable with the whole thing, right? It's part of the deal. So then we get into the application 20 minutes into the call, and I recorded her rate, non-tobacco rates, and 20 minutes into the call, she tells me that on the application, that she smokes tobacco, right? Call went completely dark, right? Reason why is because I'm like, hey, listen, we didn't talk about tobacco rates or tobacco usage early in this call. You just told me that that's going to significantly change the price. So when I told her that and her husband's on the phone, it went left, right? So I can hear him getting frustrated. He's the one paying for it. And he's like, listen, you told me this rate was, this amount, you know, 2 minutes ago, and now you're telling me this is another $40 more. Basically, now he's lost trust in me because he probably thinks I just made this up. When in reality, I spoke to your wife and she said there's a non-tobacco situation. Now we're looking at tobacco rates. So in the heat of the moment, emotions are moving. No one wants to hear they got to pay an extra $40 a month for less coverage to try to make up for what we were talking about 5 minutes ago. So I got caught in a situation like that. And, I've been doing life insurance sales and sales in general for 10 years. I've been in some very difficult situations. However, this was probably one of the most intense situations because it's not that I wanted to sell that bad. I just wanted them to not waste their time and not look at this as like, oh, I'm just some guy that's trying to run a quote to them and, upcharge them and make some extra money. No, the situation was truly the rates changed because now we're dealing with tobacco rates, which wasn't talked about before. So you guys get the picture, right? That's kind of how we jump this thing off. So the reason I'm saying that is because most people in sales fail not because they're not good at sales. They don't have a sale. I mean, there's like a million strategies. Like you can go literally chat GPT every strategy out there and all the different closes. I mean, you can go, all that stuff is something that you can Google chat GPT and make it happen in a couple minutes, right? You'll learn all that. And through experience, you can use every single strategy tactic. And I'm gonna just be honest with you though, that's not gonna make you good at sales. And more importantly, make repeatable six-figure income every month. That's not just what it is. It's not gonna be what's gonna make you get to that point, right? So, at the end of the day, you have to realize like, yo, listen, like if I'm gonna throw different strategies, different concepts, different pitches, different closes, and just try to throw spaghetti on the wall to try to make this work, and I want repeatable, six-figure income, I'm gonna have to start tightening this thing up. So let me tell you back to the story what happened. So what ended up happening, and this part of it is how you regulate your emotions, how you get yourself in a position where you have a system. And I was working the system. I was working my sales system, and I was regulating my emotions. But there's a user error, right? Some unexpected. We got tobacco rates now. So anyway, he flips out. He's like, no, I'm not really, feeling this anymore. I don't want to do this. We let's shut it down. Call me back in 2 days. The first thing that most people are going to do, they're going to get all emotional because they're like, yo, I just had this sale going, everything was going smooth, and then all of a sudden it just kind of went left. He said, hey, give me a call in 2 days. I said, okay, I'll give you a call in 2 days. I'll shoot you an email. Here's the quote. I know we had some changes, but I want to be very transparent with you and very open, direct with you. Your wife mentioned that this was a non-tobacco situation at first. The reason why these rates changed is because she's now saying that she's used tobacco within the past 4 months. So you, wherever you go, boss, you're gonna deal with this regardless, right? I'm just letting you know that to save your time. And this is what I said: calm, calm. I said, what if? I said, you want to talk in 2 days, right? And I'm knowing in my mind, if I get this guy off the phone, I'm not talking to him in 2 days. He's like, yo, this guy's a joke, right? I said, what is 2 days going to change for you, all right? What is 2 days actually going to change for you to make a decision on this policy? And when I asked him that question, he didn't feel like I was trying to get in conflict with him. He just felt like this guy really opened up a different scenario to make me process, what I'm doing. So I asked him that because I said, you got a wife, you got kids, you got coverage, you're trying to get coverage to get everything established, and you want to push this out 2 days because you just found out that tobacco rates are more expensive. What is 2 days going to do for you? And when he realized, like, you're either going to pay extra $20, $30 today, or you're going to pay extra $20, $30 in 2 days, it's not going to change. And simply by me not, and here's the beautiful part about this. I didn't freak out. Right? I didn't get to the point where I got overwhelmed emotionally. I lost my train of thought. I lost my train of, my regulation. I'm telling you, sales system and emotional regulation is how you create a repeatable income and just do the same thing every single day. And that's what I do for 8 hours a day. It's boring. But it works. It gets the job done. Consistency. When that happened, I addressed it. He responded. And 5 minutes later, I was writing the application. Right. Again, successful sales reps do not fail because they're not good at sales. A lot of people are really good at sales, and like, you have a sports background, you've been doing sales for a couple of years, you're probably really good. Actually, you just gotta get yourself to a point where you say, I need a system, and I need to be able to regulate my emotions in specific spots. If I didn't regulate my emotions in that objection, which was the largest objection of the call, then I would be sitting here with no close. And it's not about the close every time either. It's about, can you transfer optimistic energy, helping somebody, getting them in the best situation, add value, and show them. Even sometimes they may not see the truth and what is going to help them. You have to be emotionally regulated and have a system and have the information to drive it and close the sale. So that's how I close the sale. So with that being said, I think that at the end of the day, you there's nothing wrong with having a couple of strategies, a couple of closing, strategies. You have it, right? I have about 3 to 4 closing strategies. I have and I have one system. The system is never going to change. The closing strategies may vary based on who I'm talking to, but the system will never change. So I got a system with my X amount of closing strategies depending on the situation, and I emotionally regulate myself the entire call. And am I perfect on it? No. But if you can go 80%, 90% and stay consistent in that route, you can create a repeatable 6-figure income with no problem. Let me give you some real quick. Each year, I had an apartment fire at the end of 2023, December. In 2024, I was not working at all, right? So the last three sales positions I've made 6 figures. When I did not work sales for the most of 2024, I didn't make 6 figures. But the last 3 roles been 6 figures for sure because I had a repeatable system. Now, the first time I hit 6 figures, years before that, I was just, again, running all different strategies, running all different systems. I didn't have a real system. I'm just like, hey, I'm trying to make some money. I got to figure it out. I'm just going to go with the flow and try to close a sale. And what that ends up, getting you to do is when you're in the middle of a sale, when you're in the closing position, you freak out, you lose your cool, right? You're trying to force the card number. You're trying to force them to see your picture. You got to understand their picture, right? The emotional regulation just was not there for me when, before I started, making those 6-figure years. And so now, because I have found a proven system that works, and now I found a proven system that's going to allow me to get this done, it's peace, it's calm. Do the sales always go through, when this happens? No, I don't always close every sale. And that's the problem. We can't think that we're going to close every sale. We're playing the probability game when it comes down to increasing your income, having repeatable, consistent income. We're playing the probability game. You got to increase your chances, increase your it's like getting in the stock market. You want to increase your chances, increase your probability of winning the game. And that's the game that we're playing, right? So when you are getting to a point where you have, again, a proven system, you can regulate your emotions, right? And you can get yourself in a position where you know how to do this repeatably, or like a repeatable situation every single call. You can start to create that six-figure income, right? I promise you. Now at this point, there's no way I'm going back because it's on autopilot, right? Again, you will not close every sale, but you will increase your chances when you can have a system and you can regulate yourself in the most nuanced situations. How many times have you been in a situation where you panicked? You dropped the ball because it got too much pressure. Somebody flipped out. Somebody didn't have their, you know how many times I have scenarios where somebody don't have their card with them, right? They get frustrated. Somebody just died, right, in their lives, right? So we're handling so many objections. If you're tweaking because every call is coming with a different situation, you're never going to get a handle of your repeatable income. So again, if you want repeatable income, find a system, regulate your emotions, and once you connect and align that, oh, that's it. It's not about 30 million strategies, right? You will create repeatable income. If that's of interest to you, feel free to reach out. I got a link at the bottom in the description. The link is to jump on a call with me. No pressure at all. What I want to do is I've mastered it for the most part. There's no way I will make under six figures for the rest of my life. And that's going to allow me, not most importantly, not because it's about money, 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 but to fund and create freedom in other areas of my life. Right. So if you are, in a position where you want to increase your sales, you want to increase your probability, you want to have more consistent six-figure months and things like that, then reach out to me. I got a description at the bottom. We can jump on a call and we can have a session, right? And I would love to have a conversation with you, man. So again, even let me give you this. Even if you decide not to at this point to jump on a call with me, go and focus on your system and regulating your emotions. I promise you, if you stop reacting, if you're less reactive to people, they're gonna come with all type of energy. I talk to people all over the country. I have like 20 licenses across the entire country. I don't know what I'm getting into when I step on a call with somebody. I have no idea. But what I do know is I have a system, right? And I have a repeatable, regulatory, emotion-based approach to every call that I'm on. So when I do that, usually things go well. All right. So again, check out the description if you want to sit down and talk to me, but try it on your next call. I'm pretty sure you'll start to see a difference. Do that for about 30 to 60 days. You will see a difference in your closing ratio, man. So hey, be great. Talk to me. I'm dropping something every week. Feel free to drop in. If you want to jump on a call, I'm happy to talk to you, man. Y'all go out and make it happen. Six figures, repeatable income that allows you to break out a lot of things for yourself and your family. Peace.